in terms of the standards we have set, the pay setting, and in fact, you've even cited it in your statement, farewell statement, that in terms of the questions, this legislature had been more critical in terms of engagement with the executive, the committees. In fact, for us, the committees that I serve in, we have not inherited anything from the fourth legislature. And I believe we have something to bequeath to the sixth legislature, the committees, the plenary. So this is really an accomplishment. But as I said, there are times when we have also failed the expectations of the population in terms of the bills that came before us. And they are numerous. Inasmuch as we had made tremendous efforts in terms of bringing in progressive bills that became law, we have also failed them in certain instances. And these are lessons to be learned. The draft constitution, this is something that I hold dear, and any incoming legislature must pursue this. We have had the executive express interest in bringing a new legislature. Honorable Minister for Works, Transport and Infrastructure was around. The environment is here. The Honorable Vice President is also here. We have one major challenge. Banjul as a region is being threatened by climate change, and one of the factors to mitigate climate change is to promote and protect the environment and the ecology. And one way of doing that is to build canals. This open drain that is just behind the National Assembly is an issue that needs to be tackled. The next legislature should really focus on that, and the next executive, to ensure that it is addressed if we want to avoid Banjul submerging underwater. Honorable Speaker, as I said, we have made a lot of efforts in terms of representation. The committees have also been very proactive in terms of oversight, particularly the committees that I belong to. And these are lessons to be learned by the incoming legislature, that is the sixth legislature. As I said, we must continue to assert the independence of this arm of the state. We are not antagonists, we are not adversaries with any arm of the state, particularly the executive. We are all supposed to be served and duty-bound to serve the people of the Gambia, so that all our actions must be nothing other than serving the interests of the people of the Gambia. I want to also take this opportunity to pay tribute to everybody, particularly those who have served exceptionally well and have been doing it without any partisan consideration for the national interest. We have a duty to serve, but there is also a limit. The Honorable Member for 𝗱𝗱𝗃𝗃 informed this August Assembly that he is not coming back. And I respect that. And I understand why. And I support that as well. But I believe we need to pay tribute to him for the services. He has demonstrated non-partisanship, which should be emulated by all of us here. And of course, equally goes to the Honorable Member for 𝗹𝗀𝗋, being a doyen. This is what we need. We need servants who are selfless. Who promote the interests of the nation first and foremost. Politics is not the business for self. It's not the best business for individuals. It's the business of the people. Anybody who's opting for political office must be ready to serve, to relegate self-interest, personal interest, and promote national interest. And that is what the Member for 𝗱𝗱𝗃𝗃 has been demonstrating. We too have been trying. Of course, some members here, that is the way to go. When we are here, as has been mentioned by the member for 𝗹𝗀𝗃, party tax are outside. We leave them outside. It's national interest. It's unfortunate that there were instances when partisan interest played out here, which is very unfortunate and which has been deplored by the population of the Gambia. That is not what is expected of the National Assembly and National Assembly members. Of course, we are parties, we are from parties, but once you are a National Assembly member, you are a National Assembly member of the Gambia and should not serve anything other than the Gambia. So this is a lesson that I would want the 5th legislature to learn from, to take note of, that when you are here, party interest is outside, it's national interest. Conscience and national interest has been clearly spelled out by Section 112. We are not, as I said, we are not antagonists to the executive. We should work in unison to serve the people of the Gambia. And we have demonstrated that. I, for one, have been demonstrating that. There has never been an instant where I criticize the government just for criticism's sake, to condemn the executive just for condemnation's sake, to oppose the executive because I believe that if they do this, they will succeed. And for me, my party is in the opposition. This is not my thinking. I have been saying this, that if they fail, if whoever is in the executive fails, it's the Gambian people who suffer. And I'm representing the Gambian people. I'm elected by the electorate of Banjul North, but I'm representing the Gambian people.
Honorable, your time, 15 minutes. Always watch the clock. The timer is on. I'm sorry, but I'm honorable member for Lower Salum. No, he hasn't started.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah. Please watch the clock, the timer. Yeah.
I'll go less than 15 minutes, in fact. Thanks to the Almighty God who blessed me this day to stand before the National Assembly members. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for better presiding the National Assembly members. Thank you, Honorable colleagues. Thank you, the people of Lower Salum, who voted me in this office, being the 9th parliamentarian in Lower Salum. Honorable Speaker, I must thank the staff of the Parliament, the Office of the Clerk, and my senior veteran parliamentarians. Honorable Speaker, the leadership of Parliament, I must thank them also for guiding us through procedure. Honorable Speaker, thanks the people of Lower Salem who has the trust and confidence in me for putting me from 2017 to 2022 being their parliamentarian within this tenure in office. Honorable Speaker, yes, indeed, I cannot satisfy the entire people of Lower Salem, but I must thank them for bringing me in this office. A leader, you can just do a quarter, you can do all. It's a continuous progress. Leadership, it comes and goes. But I must thank them for giving me their confidence. And again, to thank the government of the day. Honorable Speaker, a lot of have done in Lower Salem today. Is the government of the day who supported the people of Lower Salem. Not all, but I know in future most things will be done in Lower Salem. But today I can rest my hand. Most projects come to Lower Salem, it is within my tenure in office. Honorable Speaker, I have nothing to say, just thank you for the people of Lower Salem. Honorable Speaker, I must thank the President of the Republic of the Gambia, who also moved the democracy of this country to the higher level. Now, everybody participate fully in politics, which we are all yearning for. Honorable Speaker, because of the free democracy that we had in the Gambia, allow people to exercise their right and their freedom, which I also thank the government of the day. Today, the entire Gambian people knows their right. Whether you are doing the good thing or not, make sure that as a leader, do the right thing, because people are watching on you. Honorable Speaker, also thank the media fraternity within our midst, also to know that Gambia's safety is in their hands. Let them also know what is good for the Gambian people. Giving information is rich, and information is expensive. Before giving any information, make sure you get the correct history or story about that individual, or about the side of story that you're going to give out to the people, because information is expensive. Honorable Speaker, I have nothing to say today, just to thank the people of Lower Salem that I have served for 5 years in office, and again expecting them also to re-elect me again. Yes, Honorable Speaker, I must thank my mentor, Honorable Member for Serekunda, who has already decided. Yes, what Honorable Member for Banjul North says, we have seen it in Parliament here. Party politics is outside. He is always yearning for the interests of the Gambian people, which we are also attached to that. Honorable Speaker, yes, indeed, he has. We must respect him on his decline that he is not going to come back to politics. But still now, Gambia belongs to us, and we are young, and we still allow him also to give us chance to educate us as the young people in the country. We also respect him on what he has demonstrated in the chamber. Honorable Speaker, nothing will say to him unless we must thank him, because he protects the integrity of these Gambian people, and he protects, and he always tries to see people first, nothing more. We know he is a leader of a party, but that party color will never shine in this chamber. We must thank the member of Serekunda for serving Gambian people. For us also, the entire parliament members serving us. Dankungu, we also thank you for your being a minority leader in this parliament, putting everybody together. Honorable Majority Leader for Combo South, 𝗍𝗍𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗍𝗍 being the veteran parliamentarian that you thought of how we going to give our procedural matters. I must thank my honorable members, thank the staff of the parliament, thank the honorable ministers, which we had a problem for our constituencies. They will not tackle all, but then most of our problems in constituencies are tackled by the ministers. And I know you are representing your own people, daughters, wives, brothers, sisters. Honorable Speaker, today in Lower Salem is a different in Lower Salem. Yes, because we have representing them here, and we are the mouthpiece of the people of Lower Salem. Whatever they cry to, we advocate it here. Which, alhamdulillah, Rabbi Alamin, it has already existed in Lower Salem. Not all, but still now, asking the ministers also to concentrate more development in Salem, whereby we will also be part and parcel of urban development, what they are also enjoying. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, the people of Lower Salem. Thank you, Gambian people. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woolly West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether 15 minutes are adequate for me to talk today. But what I would do is I'll just be provoking your thoughts. And in that way, I may accomplish what I want to do. Madam Speaker, I've been reflecting about the whole institution of parliament and representation. What we have inherited from outside. Parliament is an inheritance from the colonizers. And colonization is the greatest crime committed against humanity. And its wounds are eternal. They are everlasting. They destroy. Where they make, they also destroy. The destruction is more than the making. But we are not reflecting on these fundamentals. We fought for independence because we want to be ourselves. Essentially, that's what independence is about. It's not just to have a minister, a black president, and a national flag, a national anthem. No! It is to be yourself, to rediscover yourself, to become yourself. But have we become ourselves? Independent nations all over the world. Those who were once colonized, are they really independent? Are we independent? My colleagues, let's question ourselves. Some of us may not come back here again. Some have decided not to come. Some are going back to the polls. And I wish you all success. But the fundamental question remains. For me, the mission is incomplete. My mission, c'est une mission qui est incomplete. So, I'm well. Yes, some said he's old, yes. But what has it to do with knowledge? What has it to do with determination? What has it to do with the desire to serve your people? When you can, you have the ability, you have the capacity, you have the will and the intention. What is wrong with it? What is age? In the face of struggle, to rediscover yourself. If you are still able-bodied, intellectually, mentally alert, what is wrong in wanting to serve your people? My life has been simply that. From primary school to date, I have been in that mood, and that is what I'm going to die in that, to serve my people. It is not an easy struggle. For 50-something years we have been here. And are we convinced that we are really helping our people to become a people? Are we helping our people by virtue of what we are doing here to make our people sovereign people? Not because we are saying they are sovereign, but they come to the conscious realization that they are sovereign people, that they own this country, that they are the people who matter, who make decisions, who should decide what serves their interests and what does not serve their interests. That is the job that we should have been doing. We who are their representatives. And that's why we are representatives. We are here precisely to perform that job. Particularly we who are coming from very far away. We are coming from a very far away, from a dominated colonial society, denied in every respect, even denied your culture, denied your language that identifies you and makes you different from other people. You are denied all that. And now you fought, you say you are independent, and you still continue to wallow in the use of that same weapon that was used to destroy you. And we say we are independent, and we say we are serving our people. I'm speaking here, my people really don't understand a word of what I'm saying here, and I'm supposed to be representing them. This is a paradox. This is a contradiction. The first thing that we should have thought about when we conquered independence, if we really have conquered it, was how do we become ourselves? How do we become one with our people? How do we become one with our people that we are serving? These questions were never posed, mostly by the first generation of politicians. I wouldn't blame them much because they were concerned with other problems. Problems that have to do with governance, problems that have to do with education. But the unfortunate thing is that we have been independent Africa for more than half a century. And we are still dependent. Dependent in every respect. We hardly can do anything here without recourse to help from outside. Even though we have everything in our continent. Everything that you can imagine, we have it. We have it in abundance. But we are poor in the midst of abundance. Materially poor in the midst of abundance. In fact, morally poor, intellectually poor. Because that is why we are always having recourse to the outsiders. Because we don't have confidence that we have the capacity intellectually to do what is necessary to change our continent. I'm sorry, but these are very important questions. We make laws here in the name of our people, and they don't know anything about them. And these are the same laws that they use to take them to court. But they have no idea about those laws. Because of what? Because of the language in which those laws are couched in. And we have done nothing about that. I pray all my colleagues who are here and are going back to the polls, I pray that you all come back here. But if I come back here, the first legislation that I'll promote in this parliament will be precisely on the need for our languages to be used here so that everybody who has the capacity, not because he or she speaks English or French, but because he or she can speak his or her language, can come here and democracy will become democracy. Not democracy in words, but democracy indeed in practice. How many people have been excluded from coming here? How many of them have been very intelligent, philosophically minded people outside there who know everything that we are doing here, but they are not here simply by virtue of the fact that the weapon that was used to destroy all of us is the same weapon that we are using here to promote their interests. Impossible. I know people will say, Sidia is very controversial. I don't care. It is controversy that moves knowledge forward. But these are not just mere controversies. These are facts, unshakable facts. Unshakable facts. If I sit here, sometimes I feel funny. I spend nights pondering these things in my head. Why are things what they are? Why can't we just turn them around and become what we want them to become? No, because we are still separated from our people, just like colonialists. They were separated from our people, they are there, they are there. And we use the same, we are up, they are down. And yet everything we do, we say we are doing on behalf of our people. And they have you tell me, you go and talk to them, you say they are participating. What participation is that? What type of participation is that? You are denying them to come here to participate. Because they cannot speak English. And you say you are participating. There is no participatory democracy here. Democracy is a sham everywhere. Big sham everywhere in the world. Whether in the United States or in Russia or in France or China, democracy is a sham. It's all rubbish. Sorry, I withdraw. So I wind up. Okay, Madam Speaker, I want to thank everybody here for having worked with me. We have worked here. We are all here by our interest and our determination to serve our people. Let us continue in that spirit even where we are outside these chambers. It is not only here that you can serve your people. We can serve our people in whatever capacity we are, outside or inside. But the most important thing is there is a job to be done still. We have gone nowhere. There is a job to be done. So those who are going and are not coming back, know that the mission is not complete yet. And unless it is complete, some of us will be here talking. Some of you will be here fighting. Because it is necessary that we talk, it is necessary that we do certain things so that we can move forward. We can do it. Whoever tells you that we cannot do it, it is not true. We can do it. We can transform this country into heaven on earth. I have that conviction because the means are here, the resources are here. All that we need is to reorganize ourselves and become selfless in rendering service to our people. We have to sacrifice. That word, I have always used it here, the word sacrifice. No development can take place in an ex-colony without sacrifice. You have to do with pleasures. You have to do with pleasures, otherwise we cannot move anywhere. The money you use to have your pleasures is the money that must be used to serve the fundamental interests of your people. What do we have to show for our 56 years of sovereignty? What do we have to show for it? My critics will say, Sidia is crazy. I'm not crazy. 56 years of sovereignty in a sovereign country like Gambia. Or 57 years, somebody is saying 57 now. What do we have to show for it? Big debt, indebted to our neck. To a point that we cannot even pay what we owe. Because when we pay what we owe, we will die. Even though we are paying heavily, but it's not enough. What we are paying is what we should use to bring about development. Somebody will tell me there is no country that has not taken debt. Yes, there are countries which have never taken debt and they will never take. I know them. In fact, there are countries where they are paying less tax. They don't tax people because they have succeeded in developing the productive sectors of their economy in such a point that there is no need to tax. Money is coming. They are generating revenue. Why do you have to tax people when the land is generating the revenue for the people to be free? That is what we are marching towards. That country is going to be like that. I see a day, even when I die, even my absence, Gambia will come a day when nobody will pay a tax because we'll develop this country in such a way that it will become generative of revenue without tax. Thank you very much, madam.
Bakau.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am going to be very brief.
Recognize the presence of Her Excellency the Vice President. She joined us earlier and two other honorable ministers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, adjournment debate is all meant for members to raise issues concerning their constituencies. It's almost 5 years today. I have raised so many concerns concerning my constituency, 𝗱𝗏𝗯. Up till now, no single move has been done by the executive. Among those concerns I have raised, I would like to highlight some of them. Madam Speaker, it's almost 5 years today. I have emphasized the poor conditions of government buildings in my constituency. I have emphasized that these buildings could be refurbished and be used as state that can be occupied to accommodate state guests, instead paying expensive hotels for our state guests. But up till now, the executive failed to consider my concern. Again, Madam Speaker, I have talked about an independent stadium. I'm sure we are all aware that independent stadium hosts most of our international games. I have raised this issue to the executive of the poor condition, and nothing has been done about it up till now. And we are all aware that CAF have taken serious action against the government. And we all knew that the independent stadium is not fit anymore to host in the international games, which affect all Gambians, especially the sporting fraternity. Madam Speaker, it's almost 5 years today. I have raised a concern about a police station in 𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀 of lacking a mobility. I have made that appeal before the minister here several times. Up till now, the executive failed to respond. And how do we expect our police officers to perform their duty effectively without a mobility? Madam Speaker, I have raised a concern here almost 5 years today. A culvert linking Sting Corner to Old Cape Road, of the poor condition of that culvert. And I'm sure the Honorable Minister of Work will attest to that concern. And I'm aware that the minister lives just 2-3 minutes walk to that culvert. Up till now, the situation of that culvert is getting serious every day. And Honorable Minister, I'm sure you are using that route every day and you have seen the condition of that culvert. Up till now, the government failed to respond positively to that concern. Honorable Speaker, about the COVID fund allocated to Ministry of Tourism. It's almost 5 years today, Honorable Speaker. I've been making this issue to the minister responsible, that I have been receiving so many complaints from my electorates that the money given to the ministry for the stakeholders, some stakeholders felt that they are being segregated, and I have been engaging the minister responsible of tourism to make clarifications on this issue. But any time I have made my attempts, it failed. So I am blaming the executive of not responding to my concerns. Honorable Speaker, without taking much of the Assembly's time, since most of the members talk of non-partisan when we are in chambers, I want to make a recommendation through you, Madam Speaker, since we are talking of non-partisan in chambers. I will recommend to you for next Parliament coming, for that poster to be removed from that wall before the swearing of the new Parliament. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Kiang Central.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honourable Speaker, I will equally join my honourable colleagues to thank the people of the Gambia for having confidence and trust in us, particularly the people of Kiang Central, for giving me the opportunity to serve my country for 5 years. Honourable Speaker, I will not waste much of the Assembly's time today just to make my call or just to emphasize the calls that I have been making since the inception. Honourable Speaker, you have so many people that are really suffering, so many people that are really crying in this country in terms of rent. Honourable Speaker, I've been calling on the Honourable Minister for Local Government to please face this challenge and as a minister to take it as a responsibility. The landlords are now taking law into their own hands. by increasing the rent, sometimes even on weekly basis, sometimes on monthly basis. There's a gap that we need to fill. That is, if you looked at the Rent Act 2014, the landlords, before the amendment, are not given the power to increase their rent without consulting the council. And after that amendment, now the leeway is given to them now to go and increase. I have been calling and then talking to the minister. Why not you bring the act, we do the amendment, to put it in such a way that you will not have the chance to go and increase the rent anytime. And sometimes you see they increase more than 100%. But the defense or the response always comes from the minister is that aspect has been taken away from my ministry. Let me say this. The tribunal aspect of rent is what is withdrawn from the Ministry of Local Government. But the regulatory aspect is still with the ministry. I think it's high time, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Local Government, for him to act together with all the stakeholders in that ministry. Where I stayed before, that was in Tallinn. There is an apartment that I visited there last week. The tenants were paying $4,000 per month, and all of a sudden the landlord came and increased to $7,000. They were left with no other option but to vacate the place. In terms of cost of living, Honorable Speaker, in terms of rent, we are sitting on time bomb. I tell you this. There will come a time, if no measure is taken to address these issues, people will go out, people will take law into their own hands, and you will see that one. Take it from me. I am not praying for that, and I'm not inciting anyone, but the way things are happening in this country, there is a need. I mean, we have a government. The landlords have right to increase, but the government here is a referee. Anyone who wants to bring a foul play, you show them the yellow card or the red card. You go to other countries, this is what is happening. People must take their responsibility. Again, in connection to that, Honorable Speaker, you have a lot of property dealers in this country. You have Gambians that are working both in the country and abroad. They will manage to save something from their small salary to try and then buy a land on installment. You will pay after 3 years, you ask them to show you the land that you've been paying for. They will not be able to show you any piece of land. Why? Because the housing agent, the property dealers in this country, Honorable Speaker, there's a need for us to have a law. Again, I've been saying this in the Parliament, but the response from the Honorable Minister is not that aspect is not under my ministry. Yes, I know. There was a time the Honorable Minister and Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice informed me that they are working on a bill that they will bring before this assembly. It will be tabled before the National Assembly for us to look at the issues that are really affecting the property dealers, to have a law in place that will regulate their dealings. It has never happened. So these are issues. It's high time that, Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Local Government address the issue of rent in this country. Average Gambians are suffering. The landlords are increasing any time that they feel like increasing. And I was equally made to understand that particularly the big stores that are on the highways, they even ask for foreign currency when it comes to payment. They ask for dollars. The legal tender in this country is 𝗟𝗪𝗁. We must understand that one. Honorable Speaker, where I come from, that is Kiang, is one of the areas with a very thick forest, but it's unfortunate this time of the year, if you go there, just last evening I returned, people started setting the entire forest cover on fire. Again, I spoke to the Honorable Minister for Forestry and Environment. The fine attached to those that are really found wanting, or those that are really guilty of setting the forest on fire, $1,500 a fine, $3,000 is nothing. Let's look at the Forestry Act and amend it. Anytime there is bushfire, somebody must be responsible. If you cannot find the culprit, where the fire started. In between the two villages, you shoot the two alcalos. They will tell you who is responsible. This is the only way that we can solve the problem. And then the havoc caused by these bushfires, you cannot quantify it. The animals are suffering, particularly this time of the year. They find it difficult to have food. Honorable Speaker, in Kiang Central, there is off-the-road settlement called 𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗀. I think since we started, in fact, there was a time, any time that I stand to talk, they will say electricity and road, that's what is coming to talk about. The issue of electricity is partially addressed. But the road that linked Quinala to the 9 off village, the villages that are off the road, the 𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗀 settlement of Kiang Central, are really suffering. There is a senior secondary school and a middle school in Quinala. There is a weekly lumo, and you have a lot of people who normally travel from that end to come to Quinala and then attend the lumo, and the students as well as to attend the junior and then senior secondary school in Quinala. But the role there, I don't know what type of role is there. It's not even a feeder role. It's not even qualified to be called a feeder role. We will find a name and then give it. Even the cyclists find it difficult to move on that road. I've been complaining about that role. I think it's high time. We are not asking for a tar roll now, but let's do something to at least level so that people with the bicycle can at least use the road comfortably. That has been my cry. And again, you have a village again in Kiang Central, Honorable Speaker. The inhabitants are more than 10,000. And if you look at the water that they drink, it's as red as this seed. If you go to Quinala, it's really disheartening. You see the type of water that people in that settlement used to drink. So I've been calling on the Ministry of Water Resources to please help, please come to our aid, and then solve this problem. Finally, Honorable Speaker, again, the Ministry of Local Government and Land, where the issue of religious affairs is. We all know there are 2 religious groupings in this country, and you only know their existence when Ramadan is coming. Rawdatul Majalis is this way, Supreme Islamic Council is in this way. And let me tell you that both are registered and they all have their own constitution, they are all registered. So when Ramadan is fast approaching, these people will say Monday is the day that we should start fasting. The Rawda will come and say instead of Monday it's Tuesday. So it's very, very conflicting, Honorable Minister, and I've been appealing to you, call both parties and then you discuss with them. Let's solve this problem. If indeed they are really interested in unifying the Muslims in this country, this problem by now should have been solved. We cannot afford to have 2 religious groupings in this country. There will come a time they can even create problem in this country. They all have their regional bureaus, they all have their regional representatives. If indeed they are sincere, if indeed they are honest enough and they are all working towards one cause, that is to satisfy God, I don't think they should be fighting. I don't think they should even be quarreling. But in few weeks' time, you will hear Rawda will say Tuesday, Supreme Islamic Council will say Monday. So Gambians sometimes, you see Muslims are lost. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And we have a government in place. The role of government is to protect people. The role of government is to protect people and they look at the interests of the majority. But when we leave things uncontrolled, when we leave things unchecked, people to do whatever they feel like doing, then at the end of the day, our society will turn into a jungle society, survival of the fittest, which we shall never allow. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kombo East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I must thank God the Almighty, the sustainer, and the one who created everything into stages. And I must thank the people of Kombo East for the trust and confidence reposed on me to represent them and the nation's Bantaba. I must commend them for that worthiness. Honorable Speaker, obviously I must concur with my honorable member for Kiang Central with regards to these religious issues. I think it's high time for the government to come up with a tangible solution in order to make this matter once and for all, particularly the Ministry of Lands and Regional Government. Honorable Speaker, having said that, the Ministry of Regional Government would like to be very much mindful of the situation in this country with regards to the land grabbing. Honorable Speaker, among villages, the community, and individuals, there are a lot of land grabbing in this country. And I think the ministry has instituted a land commission. This land commission should be responsible for issues related to land matters. But unfortunately, as of now, there are issues regarding to these land issues. Up to now, this matter has never been solved. I think it's high time for the Ministry of Lands and Regional Government to please come up with a solution whereby we can able to create this environment for everybody. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, I must commend the Ministry for Agriculture, particularly the Minister for Agriculture. The stretch from Pirang to Faraba was a very important stretch, and I believe the Minister made a promise that she's going to do her best to ensure that this area has been constructed, and she has done that. I must commend her and thank her so very much for her commitment and foresight. Kudos to the Minister for Agriculture. Honorable, the Minister for Energy have done a great efforts, because not all, but part of the constituencies have been given electricity. And I must thank the government of the day for creating an enabling environment to ensure at least the people of the other region also deserve the national cake. Honorable Speaker, I must thank the Ministry for Water Resources and Natural Resources for giving out boreholes to so many areas in this country. If I could remember, 144 communities was benefited with these boreholes. That include my area. I must thank them so sincerely. I know all the efforts cannot be proved futile, and all the challenges cannot be solved at the same time. But we also have some achievements, and I must commend the minister and the ministry for their efforts to ensure at least people have safe drinking water in our areas. Honorable Speaker, coming back to Parliament, I must thank all my colleagues. For the past 5 years, we've been interacting, very cordial relationship together, and I believe we cannot solve all the problem, but part of the problem is solved. Absolutely, I believe people are saying the partisan politics, very true, but that is not very much exercised in this Parliament, because people are very much matured enough to ensure let us work hard for the best interest of this nation. And that's what we are demonstrating, and most of the members are demonstrating. And I believe we will miss each other for the interest of good. But what is important here, let us make sure that let us work for the interest of this nation. The country is bigger than everybody. Though we are coming with, we all came through party tickets, but the government goes and comes, but the state institution remains the same. The Republic of the Gambia is one. You can never change that. Therefore, it is incumbent on everybody, particularly the members. Let us all preach peace. Peace is very priceless, and nobody can go without peace. No development can be instituted without peace. Therefore, it is the responsibility of everybody, including all members here, to make sure that when you go to your constituencies, you have to preach peace. Peace should be the order of the day. I'm appealing to all members, please. On that note, Honorable Speaker, we must thank the Office of the Speaker, the Office of the Clerk, and all the staff in the National Assembly here. One way or the other have contributed immensely toward the success of this fifth legislature. And I must thank honorable ministers, who most of the time they are always here with us, all right, and that give us some answers to certain questions that concerns them. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank everybody, and I make sure that everybody, whosoever goes to your constituency, you have to preach peace. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁 Councillor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, it's a moment for reflection. And I will borrow from the Honorable Member for Woodley West. It's equally a moment for self-interrogation. We have served precisely 5 years. And it's the moment when we should reflect on the gains, the challenges, and the way forward. If any of us is fortunate to be re-elected, we should try in as much as possible to consolidate on those gains. And if it happens the other way around, we should be grateful to the Almighty Allah for giving us an opportunity to serve our people to the best of our ability. Honorable Speaker, I want to touch on history just a little. And that is to reflect on 3 key issues. I remember during my first adjournment debate here, I stated that we, and when I say we, that is myself and my colleagues from the same party, would be an opposition with a difference. And I am on record. Why? Being an opposition doesn't necessarily mean we should be seen criticizing the government and not applauding the government for the gains. But instead, we will be ready to applaud the government, support the government should any business come before us in this chamber and is meant to address the welfare of the citizenry. We will give it all the support that it deserves. But we will also be out to criticize and cry foul if it is the other way around. And I believe my colleagues can bear with me and the followers that has been the trend. Honorable Speaker, I remember raising the issue of the road that links Kampant to Balen and the road that leads Sangajo to 𝗍𝗱𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗍. Whether coming back or not, the current Honorable Minister, whether he'll be the person in charge by the time the 6th legislature is in or not, these 2 projects are there to the people of Kansala. Honorable Speaker, I remember also questioning and challenging the presence of the foreign sister forces in 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁. And I think what happened during the first week of February should be history, and that history is something that we will all reflect and look at the way forward. Honorable Speaker, it did not tell well, but the 2 key stakeholders, the Honorable Minister for Defense and Interior, are here before me. I must commend them for the interaction and the support and the collaboration during the period. I must equally thank the Chair of the Defense and Security Committee, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the Deputy Chair of the Defense and Security Committee, the Right Honorable Khalifa Saleh. That being said, I want to link and recognize the efforts of the following individuals. And to begin with yourself, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, for your intervention during that needy time to the internal displaced people. I thank you and I salute you on behalf of the people of Kansala. In the same vein, I want to recognize the efforts of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense. I equally want to recognize the efforts of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. I equally want to recognize the efforts of the Honorable Minister of Defense. And in terms of institutions, I want to recognize the efforts and the support and collaboration by the 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁 Agency for Rural Development Fund. All these individuals and institutions have played a pivotal role in supporting and ensuring that the internally displaced people have a peace of mind during those hard moments. Honorable Speaker, I equally want to say this. The Office of the Clerk and the entire staff of the National Assembly have been very supportive, regardless of your position in the National Assembly. We thank and recognize your support. But again, I will come back to this issue of the foreign forces who are in the country. I urge and challenge the government to look to a lasting solution in revisiting whatever agreement that is there. Because, as I said, our people are vulnerable. Vulnerable in the sense that they are in between two people or two enemies. So they cannot be continued to be used as a human shield. It's unfair and it cannot happen, and we must work together to come up with a lasting solution to this problem. Honorable Speaker, I now move to a colleague, a mentor, a coach, and someone who inspired me in my work. In fact, they are two. My current leader of the party, who have once served as a majority leader in this chamber on 2 terms, the Right Honorable 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗲. I must commend him and salute him for all the guidance that he has given me during the period. I want to thank the Right Honorable 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗲, who have declared that he is not coming back to this chamber. Honorable Speaker, here is a gentleman that I have served as co-leaders of the Inter-Party Committee. Today, the Inter-Party Committee, the partners, UNDP for that matter, is using the Gambian model to make sure that what is happening in the Gambia in terms of the manner in which the Inter-Party Committee is operating happens in the sub-region. And he can bear with me that the resident rep, Aissatou, told us that her colleagues in the region are asking her, how did the Gambia Inter-Party achieve the successes that they have recorded? I remember 2 weeks back when the international idea, through the eminent person, Dr. Ibn Chambers, we had a meeting. And these were his words. He said the peace that was attained during the presidential election, the umbilical cord of that peace is the Inter-Party Committee that warranted the sub-region to have interest to come and learn what is actually happening in the Gambia and replicate it in the sub-region. Honorable Co-Chair, I commend and salute you for your guidance, your coaching, and your mentorship. I have no regret being very close to you, and I think I am one of those MPs who have that rare opportunity of sitting with you right in your house to discuss issues of national interest. But I must challenge those who shared your t-shirts for not putting one right before me. I don't think, apart from your party mates, there is any member of this National Assembly who is close to you than me. It doesn't exist. It's our work that dictated that. And I have no regret, and the entire IPC have no regret for that close collaboration that we had with you. Honorable Speaker, we are about to witness the campaign, and this starting point is the nomination. I want to challenge myself, and I want to challenge my colleagues, that let us desist from defamatory and inflammatory language. Hate speech would not take us anywhere. Let it be campaign based on issues. That is the only thing that will move this country. And the electorate should be voting based on that. I have no intent to stand in a political platform and call the name of the people that will be contesting the elections with me. I will never do it, because I believe I have tried to the best of my ability to serve my people. So I will tell them what I intend doing moving forward. Based on that, it's up to them to either vote me in back or do it the other way around. And again, the IPC, in collaboration with the organizers of the presidential debate in the United States, and the first time it happened in the Gambia, we are working with them to ensure that come the National Assembly elections, there will be debates in town halls. So prepare yourself and know that the IPC is working in close collaboration with the National Democratic Institute, NDI, to ensure that wherever National Assembly aspiring candidates are going to canvass for votes, there will be town hall debates where the electorates will be seated to listen to who really have an agenda that needs to be sold, and the electorates will buy the agenda. We are very hopeful that NDI will sponsor it 100%. In fact, tomorrow we will finalize on the arrangement. Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to thank the people of Kansala, through whom I have also tried to contribute my little quota to all what transpired in these four corners of the chamber. Without them electing me to come and represent them here, I don't think I would have had the opportunity to contribute my little quota to all what transpired during the past 5 years. By extension, I want to thank the Gambian people. Honestly, when I am out of the chamber, or I am out of a radio or TV program, the amount of people that will call or we meet in the streets and they will appreciate what I have done, they are many. So I want to thank all the sympathizers. I want to thank all those who were following my deliberations in the National Assembly and in all other platforms for giving me the encouragement to be doing what I was doing during the past. But again, history has it that in the history of Fonyi Kansala, I am the second National Assembly member to represent my people in the opposition. Because the first was the late Honorable 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗲. The rest were all serving in the government of the day. And I am the second person to serve in an opposition ticket in the National Assembly. But I think they have the final say to compare and contrast and see who really represented them as far as representation is concerned. Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to thank your office. I want to thank the clerk. I want to thank all the deputy clerks for the support and the collaboration during the period. And I think the honorable member for Willie West once said it here, that cabinet should know that we are in it together to move for the betterment of this country. But if they want a war between us, well, we will see who will be the winner at the end of it. I think that has actually sent a message and has given a dramatic change in the manner in which cabinet ministers were responding and reacting to issues that were posed to them by the National Assembly member. I think it has really helped them better understand that we are not enemies, but we are in it together. They have a responsibility, we also have a responsibility. And together, we can move this country to the next level. My colleagues, I appreciate working with all of you, and I know we will miss each other during the period. We pray to the Almighty Allah that may Allah help us realize where our talents lies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nyamina West.
Thank you very much, Ma. I equally want to join my colleagues. I came to this house 1 year, 3 months to by-election, but in essence, I have also learned a lot through my colleagues. So therefore, I owe them to say a big thanks to all my colleagues. And I'm praying that all of us come back here, come the 6th legislature. We know the day is emotional, as it is difficult to say goodbye. But like many of us alluded here, we are praying that all of us come back. I will also plead to the government in response to the receipt we made during the last budget session. In analyzing the NDP, it was made to known there that Nyamina is among the least developed constituency in the Gambia, and that today most of the ministers are here present. So I'll put it to them. This is in an event that, or as a result, Nyamina, for the last 50 years, we were less privileged when it comes to government projects and then government development. We are not privileged with a major hospital or a major health center. We are not privileged to electricity. Just recent, with the coming of this government, that we register a project on water supply, and then we also have some feeder roads that are being fixed by NEMA projects to the rice fields. But still now there is a lot to be done in Nyamina West, and I put this to the ministers to please consider Nyamina West, since as put on the NDP, we are the less developed as for now. In that juncture, I will just also join my colleagues on this day, since this is the last day for this session on the 5th legislature, and then I say a big thank you to a few of them who serve as mentor, especially the majority, the minority, and few colleagues that were very close to me. That is Honorable 𝗱𝗵𝗯𝘁𝗲 and Honorable 𝗱𝗵𝗁𝗁𝗁. So, in essence, I don't want to keep long. I'll say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sabasanyal.
It's a row. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, equally I will do the same. It's just a repetition in the starting. First of all, I thank Allah for giving me the health, the well-being, and the power to participate and represent my people for the past 5 years. As many have said, it's a day of reflection. We are reflecting on the actions we have taken here, the challenges and the successes. But allow me, Madam Speaker, before going there, to thank my parents, my family, and my loved ones. On behalf of the people of Sabasanyal, I thank the entire Gambian people and equally thank the people of Sabasanyal for giving me the opportunity to represent them here in the past 5 years. I equally will challenge them and request them to re-elect me for the next coming 5 years. Madam Speaker, I thanked the entire Parliament. I don't want to segregate anybody here, because everybody have really did well in this Parliament. Starting from the cleaners, from the orderlies, the support clerks, the committee clerks, and everybody, through the leadership of the Assembly Authority, the Office of the Clerk, and the Office of the Speaker. We have no other word than thank you, a big thank you to you all. Honorable Speaker, this is a hadith. If you don't thank somebody, you will not thank Allah. Therefore, as a Muslim, I thank all of you. And I started thanking Allah. If I don't thank the people individually or in group, Allah will not recognize the thank I gave for him. Mr. Speaker, what I will reflect now is the tremendous development, the tremendous changes that the Gambia achieved during these 5 years. We all can recall that before these 5 years, in 2016 and beyond, we all know where the Gambia was and how Gambia was being governed. And we also know from that point to date how the Gambia is governed. If we compare and contrast, we'll all understand or see that
there is a very big development. In terms of human rights, Gambians have now seen themselves, they realize themselves, and they know their potentials. And that is why people were voting for changes. However, we cannot do everything at once because life is a continuous process. Our ancestors did their quarters and went rather. We will also do our quarter and go, and we will have successors who will continue from our stopping point. In that vein, I want to thank the entire executive through the leadership of His Excellency 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗲 Barrow for having such a very formidable team who have foresight for the Gambia and initiated these laudable developments. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I am giving a big thank to that executive and appeal to them to keep or challenge them to keep that spirit or redouble that spirit because Gambia is the only place we have. I also want to acknowledge the efforts of the Parliament in supporting the executive to pursue their activities, without which we could not have achieved such developments. Specifically, Madam Speaker, if I come to 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗲, Madam Speaker, 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁𝗁 was in a situation where some part of the communities are completely isolated and cannot go out anywhere. Today, that is a thing of the past. For over 57 years, we were under that situation. Today, you can go anywhere to the last person at the Pangane bus there. Somebody at the far corner in the constituency can be reached within a very short time. That is a very big achievement, and I applaud this Parliament who have appropriated those funds to 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁𝗁. Thank you, and thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, the challenge is now ours. This team of parliamentarians, Gambia must really applaud them. People are talking about partisan issues. We cannot avoid that because we are all politicians, and every politician belongs to somewhere. We came here through party tickets, but actually we don't demonstrate that during the war. One may have some strategies to influence your party issue, but that is normal. And we all take it from each other and accept it. And that has never created any chaos amongst us. If I look at other parliaments, Honorable Speaker, the way they proceed, you see people exchanging blows. It has never happened here. So that is telling us the cohesiveness that we have. And people should also learn from there and replicate the same thing among themselves. The politics is coming. We are going to the electoral process. I think we are all Gambians. If I come here as a member representing 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁𝗁, it's equal as if somebody coming from 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁 again to represent them here. This is my concept. This is my principle. This is what I believe. Because anybody in 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁 can represent 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝗁 here. So it is just by destiny of Allah that any of us happen to be here. So that should not make us to see ourselves as rivals or as enemies or people who are with in a different country. We have different ideologies, we have different ideas, but we are the same. So I think if we keep promoting that, the Gambia will be an everlasting place. And that is only what we need. Development is a process. We cannot just start from point one and get to the last level in a very short time. Because the mindset of the people is very crucial. But Madam Speaker, before concluding, there is a pressing issue that I want to make a statement about, which is the cost of living in this country. Madam Speaker, everybody is talking about that. And the executive has the responsibility to clear the doubt, to clear the air for the citizens. the efforts that the executive is making to make sure that price are stabilized, people can get the price at a reasonable amount, should be known by the population. And that will minimize this misinformation. I think it is a responsibility to the executive to come out and explain what is happening in the market. Personally, when I make my comparison, I believe that, in fact, it is our attitude that is propagating this. Because if you look at the local products that we are growing in this country, in this country, they are far more expensive than the imported ones. Take maize, for example. A kilo of maize is costing $36. How much a kilo of rice is costing now? So, and you don't pay any tax on that maize, just produce it from the farm to the store, to the market. So if you want to tell me the imported rice is more expensive than what we are producing here, and at the market, if you go there, you all see this. So I think the government should come out and talk to the people so that people know what is happening globally. This will also minimize the talking and the misconceptions. Honorable Speaker, before I take my seat, I will once again thank everybody and challenge myself and all of us to see Gambia as our country. The trend of politicking in this country, the way politics is going, the way people are using the media, Honorable Speaker, we should really look at it. Because somebody down there who hasn't gone to school may not be able to, segregate what is right or wrong, what is correct or false. And this is really a problem. I think our attitude also, we need to look into that. As a country, that is what we need to save our country in the way we want. Finally, Madam Speaker, I will talk to the Minister of Water Resources. Although I am thankful to Allah and to the executive and to his ministry for providing some communities in my constituency potable drinking water, but there are pending projects people are really pressing, and we don't still know what are the fate of those projects. I think water is a right, and people are complaining or claiming their rights. Some bores are being drilled, but since after drilling, nothing happened. So I want to know from him what is the way forward for those projects, because people really need them. In some communities, they lack water for 6 months, as I'm speaking. For 6 months, they will go out of their own community to another community to fetch water just to drink. And we all believe that water is a human right. Allow us to have our right and enjoy them, please. Honorable Minister, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I thank you very much and I beg to take my seat.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Janjanbureh.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I want to seize this opportunity, first of all, to thank you as the head of the National Assembly, together with the clerk and the entire staff, for the cooperation we had during the 5 years we spent here. And I am unfortunately one of those who had declared that we are not coming back. And Madam Speaker, I take this singular honor to thank you all for the cooperation, my colleagues. It had been sometimes bitter between us, but we were able to submerge. And I hope and pray that for all of you who are preparing to come back, I pray that you win your constituencies and come back. And for the Honorable Member for Serekunda, who had been my head of delegation at the ACP EU, I say I'm very grateful. We had a lot of experience from you, and you have been a very good head of delegation. And I can tell that you had represented Gambia at this peak, because we were there, we saw it, we were with you. My next group of people I want to thank is my electorates. I want to say that I'm very grateful, because I remember the day when they came for me to contest in the parliamentary elections. I told them that I'm not a politician, and I wouldn't want to contest, but they insisted that I should. And for those who I may not have for those who were expecting more than what I did for them, if I have not satisfied them, I'm telling them that that's my best I was able to do. And for those who think I did better than all the members for parliament who had ever served in Janjambure, I tell them, bravo. Well, this is what I could, this is what I did, and that's where I can stop. Madam Speaker, I just want to buttress on one thing. In Janjambure, there is a rice field that had been contracted out to a contractor by the Ministry of Agriculture. For the last 4 to 5 years, Madam Vice President, for the last 4 to 5 years, this rice field is not still completed. The work is still not completed. And I would definitely have loved to see that completed during the tenure of my term, but it is not possible. So please put that into consideration. And because Janjambure is very well known for rice production. And as of today, there is not a single rice field that is being cultivated. This is very sad. And I hope that will be taken care of. And the Minister for Works, who is my personal friend, who was my personal co-worker at the Department of Water Resources, Mr. 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗂𝗍. We had worked together for over 20 years at the Water Resources. I have a road in Janjambure that he had promised that he was going to tar for us. And please don't forget it, because I'm not here. I seize this opportunity to thank all the members of all the committees I serve in at this National Assembly, particularly the Agri Committee, where I served as the chair. I'm very grateful to all the members who I think we had done a lot within these 5 years. And I want to thank the National Assembly, once again, this group, for the 100 million that was given to Ministry of Agriculture in the 2020. And as the Minister has said it here over and over, that has gone a long way in helping them to achieve bumper harvest that year. And I hope during the next parliament, the Minister of Agriculture will be allocated enough funds. Madam Vice President, I have said it here before that this COVID, we don't know still how effective it has affected those countries where these rice are grown from. And probably that might be the cause why some of the essential commodities are getting more and more expensive. And a lot of these things, from rice growing to vegetable growing, everything we can be able to do it here and be self-sufficient in it. But somehow we try to put this into projects and give it to people to execute them, and one way or the other they fail. So I hope the government would look into this seriously, because a lot of women gardens in the provinces are without water currently, and I think member for Woolly East had always been lamenting that there is a garden in his constituency that has no water, and when it was added together, I think there were 19 or 20 such gardens. They were built by a NEMA project, but there's no water supply system in them. And I hope the Minister of Finance, together with Agriculture, will sit down and look at this, because even fencing those areas is a lot of money. So if you leave it like that without water supply and it's being underutilized, then I don't think that is of great importance. Finally, I want to thank the executive. I had been seeing them here each time we meet, although certain times they fail, but they come certain times and we give them what we think. Please, like somebody said it here, we are not enemies, we are adversaries. We are all out to ensure that Gambia develops the way we want it. And if we ask certain questions, and a lot of times, even myself, I am part of them who would think that the speaker is helping the ministers not to answer our questions. But the idea of our asking questions is to make sure that the minister concerned and the idea that is behind the whole thing is not being distorted by people outside. That's why we insist sometimes to know some reasons why ministers are not answering certain questions the way we think. So, that being the case, I will tell you, I am among those people who are thinking that you are assisting to the ministers not to answer the questions as they were. Nonetheless, this should not mean anything between us. We are all Gambians. I think every individual here has this intention that you want to see the Gambia go forward. That's our ultimate objective here. At the end of the day, like somebody was saying, the government failing. If government fails, you fail. If any government, even if you are dead opposition to everything the government does, which is not the case here. That's not the case here. How many times have we seen bills passed here? Please, not only this parliament, but even the next parliament coming, we should always be seeing Gambia as number one and not ourselves or our parties. And on that note, I'll beg to take my seat, and I thank the entire country for giving us the support, because each time you go out, people will say, oh, I saw you say this at the National Assembly. So if we had done good, bravo to us. If we hadn't done good, we are telling those people that it was not our intention to do bad. We had wanted to do good because we have this country's interests at heart. On that note, I take my seat. Thank you.
Nyani?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I also want to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for serving for almost today my 5th year in the chambers. I said thank God to Allah, and for those who didn't reach up to today, they didn't do anything to Allah, but their times has come. This is why they have passed away. May God forgive them. Madam Speaker, I also have to say thank you very much for being with us for the past 5 years, being patient with us, being so steady during your time of session. And I also thank your staff also for assisting us. Whatever we request from them, they are always ready to assist us. Madam Speaker, here my first day of deliberating my speech, I first spoke about my constituency of the harbor they are having on the side of the hippos. Today also, that's my end of my session. For the past years, I have been appealing to wildlife and even the defense. Before going to Darfur, at least they tried to reduce. I don't say they eradicate all the hippos or kill all the hippos, but at least to reduce them. Without that, Madam Speaker, we cannot have self-food sufficiency. Hippos in our area, they are really harboring the farmers there, and they don't do it at any time, but when the produce are already yet to be harvested. Expecting the next day you will go for harvesting, you will find all the hippos has already taken all your rice, which is a problem to the farmers, and it's always a problem to us, because all the time you expect a bumper harvest, the hippos will take it. Madam Speaker, I cannot go further not to thank the Minister of Agriculture for assisting my communities for a lot of implements, such as power tillers, rice threshers, rice harvesters, and even the threshing machines also. Alhamdulillah, the Ministry of Agriculture has really assisted my community in the side of the rice cultivation areas, where they were able to get some implements for their productions. But Madam Speaker, I also thank the energy, at least for the electricity we are realizing now, at least 24 hours of electricity. Thank to energy on that, but yet still, if they can remember, Madam Speaker, I was all the time talking about others, because almost 3/4 of my communities are not benefiting electricity. And there are areas where, you know, they are always closer to Senegal, and those border villages are all the time benefiting the electricity, for them, they can just see the light, but they cannot use the light. So because of that, I still appeal the Energy Minister to make a follow-up so that those areas at the border can also be connected, just like we had the other villages which are in my constituency. Madam Speaker, on the side of water, according to 𝗱𝗵𝗯𝗁𝗁, I also had a similar thing. Boreholes had been drilled in my area for almost an year now, but yet still the borehole is not used. So I want the minister to set a light on that, because they are really in need of water, and it has been there for almost 1.5 years. The borehole has been drilled, but they are not using it. So the other side is about works. Madam Speaker, as far as works is concerned, in terms of road construction, these 400 kilometers, we have been all the time saying in this chamber, none of my communities are benefiting it. There is no single village which this road has come through. The only place maybe they may be saying is about 𝗹𝗀𝗯𝘁𝗲, and that place is just the road to reach at the village so that it can get access to the main road. But my community of Nyani are not benefiting that road, and there is no single road which the government has already stated in my communities which the roads will benefit. So there was an year the head of state has went up to 𝗽𝗍𝗄𝗃 through Ndawen, promised them that there will be a road through there, but yet still we didn't have that road construction. And even just of a recent, the minister was talking about this Batin-Hadin Highway Road and other roads. But, Madam Speaker, my constituency are not benefiting in any of the access roads. In terms of communication, as far as the mobile system or the GSM is concerned, I have been saying that also for these past 5 years. But still now, most of my villages like Saramalo and Faraba and Kataba and other areas just surround the Senegalese border. They are also having a lot of challenges to get access for telecommunication. There, if you want to hear from anybody, you have to hang your telephone on top of the tree so that you can get a telephone, and it's mainly not safe. You can even climb while listening, getting the telephone to get access to it. You may even fall down. So, Madam Speaker, I also have that challenges with the communication system. The other also is about the health. I can say all these problems which have been stated here for the past 5 years, there is no single problem which has been solved. In fact, one of the presidential tour, all my communities were complaining and their needs were being said. Thank God I was there, I stood, and I told them, here are the ministers. The messages you normally tell me, I always tell them in these chambers. But none of them has been solved. And up to now, we had a very good theater at 𝗽𝗿𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁, but that theater is not under use. And I think it's the most sophisticated, well-equipped, well-spacious theater, even in Combos here, but it's not being used. It's underutilized. So the health minister, please help us so that that facility can be used. Just day before yesterday, one of my people has a problem with, sorry to say, a hernia. Before he reached here, he passed away. It was even yesterday. I made all efforts so that that guy can return back, but unfortunately he died. So for that reason, and that facilities there, nobody is using it. So please, the health minister, we are appealing so that you can able to help us so that that health center can be used. The other aspect is about, there is a camp at Sametenda. My colleagues is not here, but we join together because there's an association they call Nyani Same Association, which they are making a follow-up so that that RSK camp, where it is located, is at Sametenda, to make it as a skill center. We are making a follow-up to it. We have even talked to the Minister of Higher Education so that it can see how best we can able to get that facility so that it can be a skill center. The tourist sector is also trying all possible means so that they can get access to that facility so that they can make it a tourist camp. But according to the community, according to the association, and according to Nyani Same, the vast majority, I can say all concerned people are interested to be there as a skill center than a tourist center. So for that, Madam Speaker, yes. So, Madam Speaker, I think these are the information I wanted to share with you. Here, we come back into politics. This year, we can say it's just at a closed door to us. The campaign is coming to start, though we are coming to nomination. But all what I can able to tell my colleagues is that let's be mindful on abuse language. Let's know that here we all are the same family. We are all the same family. So based on that, let's try to keep peace. Peace is everything. Peace is the most needed thing what we can able to achieve. Without peace, there will be no peaceful development. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I think these are the messages I wanted to say. But once again, I can only thank the Ministry of Agriculture for their effort, what they have done in my constituency. Other than that, other ministries, I'm still appealing to them so that they can also see what they can able to do for my constituency. Because there are a lot to be done, especially in terms of access road to other various villages, places like from Jakaba to Kayai, via Jalmekuta, Manna, then to Jalmekoto. And the other one at Dingirai, passing through Ndawen, go to Saramalo, to Kataba, back to Wasu. So if these roads have been able to be constructed, I think it will be a free movement for us, and we can get access to the main hospital, that is the Kuntal hospital. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I beg to thank myself.
Thank you. Honorable Member for 𝗍𝗱𝗄.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. May I say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Honorable members, there's a list of 31 honorable members who are there, and we are number 13. So let's exercise patience. Everybody is recorded. You'll all have an opportunity. Eh? Thank you.
Thank you. May I say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I thank the Almighty God and His Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I thank my mother and my father. And also I thank the other constituency and our chairman and the chairwoman, Lamin Bakoto. And also I thank my brother, Lamin Kanyi, which all the time with me during the struggle. And I also thank Speaker of the House, and also the Speaker of the House. And also I thank the late Lamin Damundiba, who built my school in the 60s, and who was among the struggles so that the Gambia will achieve what they really want to themselves. Madam Speaker, when I heard carefully you speak, the only thing I can say, you are a mother for the past 5 years. Madam Speaker, coming to my constituencies, if you could believe with me, in the last 5 years, I was complaining about from the federal from Viliasa to Balengo, every adjournment bed, or even the parliamentary questions. But it's very unfortunate. The ministry concerned is not very much care about it, because it's hard to say, because he's not from that area. That's why he's not very much concerned about it. And also, Madam Speaker, you can also bear with me that almost for the past 3 or 4 years, I was complaining about these debate committees, just like the rice, that the duty on rice, we are not paying it. But still now, there's no changes on the price on duties. And also, so many people are complaining the price of the rice, sugar, and all these things. And there's not to blame customs. When I had people blame that they're blaming custom officers. No, the custom officers, they have no hand on these on duties. The Minister of Finance is responsible for all these things in this country. Because the Minister of Finance, he gives target to customs. And also Mr. Finance also gives them the indicated value. I told the Minister of Finance here, if you want this thing to be reduced, there are 2 ways. Either you revise indicated value or you reduce the duties. So that at least people are able to buy the goods. So the price will go down. And also I heard that the port also, they contribute. Because, I mean, if they revise the taxes, and if they revise also the demurrages, that all will contribute on the price on the base committees. Madam Speaker, and I can only let me thank the water resources, Madam Speaker, for the past 57 years. From Timbing Cotton, over the Caribbean, there was no water. But now, I have almost about 90% of water in my constituency. For that being the case, I thank my chairman, Mawalamin Bojang, and also my councillors, Sambunjai and Tumani, for their cooperation during this process. And also I thank Nyakasi and Jabi and his co at Water Resources. Madam Speaker, in my constituencies, I've been saying that place like Nokunda Ward, it's a big ward. But still now, there's no health facilities. The hospital in that place is well dilapidated, and I've been talking to the Minister of Health privately, but still now, there's no success in that area. Madam Speaker, and also, Kobandara Ward, there's no single health center. And that's one of the most serious things. Kobandara is a big ward. And they are a little bit far from Farafenni. And at least I was spoken to the health minister, so that at least they can have a small health center, so that they'll be able to they can take care of the women went down the labor before taking them to California. And also, Madam Speaker, I think the Minister of Interior here, I told him about the 𝗹𝗀𝗯𝘁𝗲 police post. 𝗹𝗀𝗯𝗁 is a very sensitive area, and also is within we are not far from the border. And if there's a police post there, that's going to help the community so that they will freedom from these so many problems within the area. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I think it's very sad, Madam Speaker. For the past 5 years, audit report has been done here, but the Parliament didn't do anything about it. We have audit report on 2017 up to date. There's nothing has been done on it. And if you see the corruption within the civil service now, it's just rampant. Why? Because the people responsible, they don't even care to audit, to act on audit report. So well, everybody, we can say we are in a free society. Then you can do anything you like because you are not being punished by what you did without at the ministry level. Madam Speaker, the only thing we can do, Madam Speaker, in this country, we need to change our attitude, Madam Speaker. That's the only thing, if we change our attitude, that's going to help us so that we can be more productive in this country. But Madam Speaker, when I visit 𝗹𝗀𝗁𝗁, and also, 𝗱𝗲𝗯𝘁𝗂𝗿, we have enough, there are enough water, we have enough land, and there's natural resources. We can even develop this country without even importing rice. But no. I'm sorry to say, the authorities, most of them, they are self-centered. Because the amount of money, pumped in agriculture, they can also develop this country if people if we are sincere to each other. But no. If you see, even I agree with the member of Jinjambure. The land of Jinjambure itself can feed the whole country, if you are committed. But but that's not going on. And even this, you were saying about this $100 million. This $100 million, the way and manner have been distributed within society, it was not wrong. We are talking about mechanized farming. But we are thinking that we are going to give dengue to dengue or to a farmer. How can that? This isn't farming. No. But we want mechanized farming so that at least we're able to produce as much as we can do if they are committed. Madam Speaker, okay, now the transition, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is high time now. The Gambia government, let's take a high step now against Senegal's government. Because Senegal government, they flatly block our transit trade from Guinea-Bissau customers on the Kasu. If you remember, for the past 3 years, there are so many, thousands of containers we are coming from Guinea-Bissau and customers, but now they block it. There's no more transit trade in this country. And they abuse and they dishonor the equal policy. And the government, they are aware of it. They don't say anything about it. So that being the case, we are now going towards election. I am warning. A strict warning. This election is for Gambians only. It is only Gambians only. I am warning my fellow brothers. If another Gambian don't participate in this election, especially my constituency, I'll make it correct. If another Gambian If you want important in election, then you can see anything you want. Because this election is quite different from the president election, Madam Speaker. Let's push for the state. That being the reason, for that being Madam Speaker, thank you very much. You may flow.
Thank you, honorable members. I think this is a convenient time for us to take a break. Yes, for maybe we come back at 4 o'clock. Yes, it's 2:45, so that we can freshen up. We've been sitting down since morning. So we just suspend the sitting till 4 o'clock. We will resume at 4 p.m.
Please, Honourable Speaker. 3:30, please. 3 p.m. 3:30 p.m. Yes, so I preside today.
Maybe some of the honourable ministers may wish to go and sign, take care of some official matters in the office. So let's come back at 4 o'clock. Let's also be considerate. We're partners, as we always say. Thank you. So the sitting is suspended. Resume at 4 o'clock. Thank you. You can have your lunch.
I played football here. I played football here. I played football in Senegal. I played football in Spain. Spain, I'm telling you. I played football in Belgium too. I played in Belgium. Then I done football in Senegal.